Airports are still open, but the planes sit idle. Beachside boardwalks, empty. Hotels advertise prices, but their rooms stay dark. Something is cracking beneath the surface of America, and it's not just the economy. It's the very lifeblood of entire states. Tourism, once a golden engine of growth, is seizing up. One by one, iconic destinations are going silent. Not from disaster, but from neglect, policy, and something far more unsettling. People have simply stopped coming. Which states are already unraveling? Which ones could be next? Stay close, because these 10 places aren't just losing tourists, they're losing time. Number 10. Nevada. Number 10. Nevada. Casinos are still lit up, but the crowds are thinner than they've been in years. Hotel suites sit untouched. Buffets, once overflowing, now run half empty or shutter completely. Something is shifting in Nevada, and it's not just bad luck at the tables. Number 9. California. For decades, it's been the very definition of the American dream. A land of golden sunsets, endless iconic highways, and the birthplace of blockbuster dreams. But behind that seemingly perfect postcard, a storm is not just brewing, it's already breaking. California, arguably one of the world's most aspirational and visited destinations, is starting to slip, and it's doing so with a disquieting rumble, not a quiet whisper. A significant part of its lifeblood, international travel, is drying up at an alarming rate, especially from Canada, which has historically been its second largest and incredibly reliable market. Before we delve deeper into the unfolding crisis in other states, we need your help. Hit that subscribe button right now. It's how we can continue to dig deeper, to uncover these critical, untold stories that mainstream media often overlooks. And trust us, what's coming next will not just inform you, it will shock you. You don't want to miss it. Number 8. Florida. Palm trees still sway, theme parks still sparkle, beaches still shimmer under the sun. But behind the postcard perfect scenes, something's gone very, very quiet. Florida, a titan of American tourism, a dream destination for millions, is suddenly on unstable ground. In 2025, something shifted. International visitors, once the lifeblood of the state's economy, stopped coming. And not just a little. The numbers dropped sharply, especially Canadians, who once made up a massive chunk of winter tourism in places like Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Orlando. Snowbirds who used to migrate south every year simply stayed home. Why? Rising travel costs, visa complexities, a strong US dollar, but also geopolitical tensions and economic instability worldwide. Suddenly, that Florida vacation wasn't top of the list anymore. And this isn't just about lost hotel bookings or empty seats on roller coasters. This is about a ripple effect that hits hard and deep. When international tourism shrinks, it's not just the tourism industry that suffers. The cracks run through real estate, as vacation homes sit empty and property values dip. Hospitality, as hotels reduce staff and wages. Transportation, as fewer flights arrive and rental car lots stay full. Retail, as spending dries up in malls and outlet centers once buzzing with foreign shoppers. And here's the scary part. Florida has no real backup plan. This state was built on sunshine, fantasy, and tourism dollars. For decades, the formula worked. Disney, beaches, nightlife, it all pulled people in. But now, one of those pillars, international tourism, is crumbling. And with it, so is the delicate economic structure that held Florida's prosperity together. Domestic travel, while helpful, can't fill the hole. Overseas visitors don't just come, they invest. They stay longer, they spend more, they fuel entire local economies. And when they vanish, the impact isn't seasonal, it's structural. As the international cash flow dries up, small businesses close. Job opportunities shrink. Cities that once thrived on tourism start cutting services. And Floridians, who once felt protected by their state's strong brand, now face a future more uncertain than ever. Florida, the Sunshine State, is learning the hard way. When your economy depends on fantasy, even paradise isn't safe from reality. Number 7, New York. The skyline still stuns. The lights still shine. Times Square still blinks in 1,000 colors. But behind that brilliance, a quiet has settled. Look closer, beneath the glow of Broadway marquees and the bustle of yellow cabs, and you'll find a city that's shifting. Once the beating heart of international tourism in the United States, New York is beginning to lose its rhythm. For decades, NYC was more than a destination, it was a dream. Millions came each year, drawn by the promise of Central Park strolls, Fifth Avenue shopping, and once-in-a-lifetime shows on Broadway. But in 2025, something has changed. So what's causing the pullback? It's not just one thing, it's a perfect storm: skyrocketing costs of hotels, dining, and attractions. Global inflation making travel harder for the middle class abroad. A stronger US dollar, which makes everything more expensive for foreign tourists. And growing concerns over safety, crime, and cleanliness, particularly in key tourist zones. To many would-be visitors, New York just isn't feeling as magical as it once did. And here's the thing, it's not just about feelings, it's about hard reality. The economic impact is already being felt at the street level. Local businesses that rely on tourist dollars are struggling. Thousands of restaurants in Manhattan, especially those in Midtown and the Theater District, depend on international foot traffic. Many shops in neighborhoods like Soho, known for upscale shopping, have seen double-digit drops in revenue. When those overseas dollars vanish, jobs vanish too. Tour guides who once led packed walking tours through the village now wait hours for a single customer. Hotel staff face reduced hours or are quietly let go. Broadway actors and crew feel the pinch as theater attendance dips. Even iconic landmarks like the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty are seeing fewer ticket sales. This isn't just an economic hiccup, it's a systemic warning. New York's economy is a complex machine powered by global engagement. And when that engagement fades, even the biggest engine slows down. Worse still, New York's image is under pressure. Viral videos of subway incidents or dirty streets circle the globe in minutes. The perception of danger or decay, whether fair or exaggerated, sticks. And it deters not just tourists, but international investors and business travelers too. So now, the question looms: what happens to a city that never sleeps, when the world stops showing up? New York still has its magic. But in 2025, it's clear: if the city wants to stay on top of the world, it can't rely on nostalgia. It must adapt, rebuild trust with travelers, and restore its image, or risk slipping from global icon to faded memory. Before we dive into the next city, don't forget to subscribe. That's how we keep bringing you stories that matter. Stories others are not telling. And trust us, what comes next is even more unexpected. Number 6, Hawaii. From the air, it still looks like paradise. Turquoise waters, lush green peaks, golden crescent beaches kissed by sunlight. The dream of Hawaii remains etched in postcards, travel brochures, and honeymoon fantasies around the world. But land on the islands today, and the picture changes. The cracks beneath the surface begin to show. Hawaii, long considered the crown jewel of American tourism, is now facing a storm it can't simply surf its way out of. So what's happening? It's not just one issue. It's a complex, deeply layered crisis pressing in from every direction. First, the cost of access. Rising flight prices have made it painfully expensive to reach the islands. For many families, a Hawaiian vacation has gone from a dream to an impossibility. The cost of getting to paradise has never been higher, and fewer travelers are stepping off the plane. Then there's the tightening grip of local regulations. Hawaii has long struggled with over-tourism, and in 2025, lawmakers have taken a stand. Stricter vacation rental laws, especially in places like Oahu and Maui, are reshaping the landscape. Neighborhoods once filled with Airbnbs are shutting their doors. Hotel prices are climbing, visitors are finding fewer places to stay, and more hoops to jump through. And then came disaster. The wildfires in Maui weren't just destructive, they were scarring. Homes, businesses, and entire communities were devastated. But the emotional toll went beyond the island. The images went viral. The world watched Lahaina burn. Tourists cancelled trips. The perception spread: Hawaii wasn't safe. And in tourism, perception is everything. But there's more, perhaps the deepest wound of all: growing local resistance. After years of being pushed to the margins, native Hawaiians and longtime residents are rising up. Skyrocketing rents, jam-packed beaches, sacred sites treated like selfie spots. Communities flooded with tourists, but unable to afford their own homes. The response has been powerful and political. Protests, petitions, policy, laws are tightening, access is shrinking. The message is clear: Hawaii is reclaiming itself. The result: the state's tourism industry is now fighting a war on two fronts: falling demand, as fewer people are willing, or able, to come. Shrinking capacity, as laws and local sentiment reduce where they can stay and what they can do. It's a dangerous combination for a place whose economy depends almost entirely on visitors. Businesses that once thrived are now cutting hours, slashing staff, or closing altogether. Surf instructors wait for clients that never show up. Tour operators cancel routes. Restaurants, once packed, now serve half-empty rooms. And in rural and remote islands, Molokai, Lanai, parts of the Big Island, families are leaving. Quietly packing up, seeking opportunity elsewhere, because the money that used to flow in, it's drying up. For decades, Hawaii ran on a simple formula. Bring in the tourists, feed the economy, repeat. But in 2025, that model is showing serious cracks. And while some celebrate the peace and quiet returning to sacred places, others see a sobering truth. Paradise is becoming unlivable for the very people who live there. Hawaii still looks like a dream, but for many on the ground, that dream is starting to feel like a warning. A place of unmatched beauty, caught in an unsustainable cycle. A community struggling to breathe under the weight of the industry built to keep it alive. The question now isn't how to get back to the old Hawaii. It's whether a new, more balanced Hawaii can rise before it's too late. Number 5. Arizona. From a distance, it still looks like a desert success story. Sun-soaked skies, booming cities, and rugged natural beauty drawing visitors year-round. The Grand Canyon still carves through the earth like a masterpiece. Sedona still glows red at sunset. Phoenix and Scottsdale still glimmer with the promise of luxury resorts and world-class golf. But zoom in, and the image starts to distort. Something beneath the surface feels off. Arizona's tourism industry, once one of the fastest growing in the country, is starting to flicker. And it's not just a temporary dip. It's the start of a systemic shift. Here's why. Over the past 2 decades, Arizona bet big on 2 things: real estate and hospitality. The state leaned hard into the promise of endless growth, new resorts, more condos, desert golf courses, spa retreats, and a booming short-term rental market. But when tourism slows, that house of cards starts to wobble. Construction projects stall, investors pull back, short-term rentals sit vacant, their owners saddled with mortgage payments and no guests. Restaurants and spas that once thrived on winter visitors and spring break crowds begin to close. Even high-end resorts are scaling back, trimming staff, or offering steep discounts to fill rooms. In Scottsdale and Phoenix, hotel bookings are flattening. Seasonal employment, so vital to service workers across the state, is shrinking. The ripple effect is undeniable. And it's not just the big cities. Smaller towns like Flagstaff, Page, and Williams, which depend almost entirely on national park traffic, are feeling the slowdown like a sledgehammer. These communities rely on a steady stream of tourists headed for the Grand Canyon, Lake Powell, and Monument Valley. But in 2025, those streams have turned into trickles. Whether it's because of rising travel costs, extreme heat waves, or growing concern over water shortages and sustainability, travelers are starting to skip Arizona. And when they do, the consequences are swift. Local diners lose their morning rush. Kayak rental shops by Lake Powell sit quiet. Tour buses stay parked. And with Arizona's rapid growth model so deeply tied to tourism, the fallout is spreading. It's not just the tourism sector, real estate is softening too. The Airbnb boom has reversed in some cities, as tighter regulations and fewer bookings make the math unworkable. Construction workers face layoffs. New developments are frozen mid-frame. Investors are starting to pull out of what once looked like a desert gold mine. There's also the climate factor. Arizona's future is tethered to one increasingly fragile resource: water. The long-term drought stretching across the southwest has become impossible to ignore. Lake Mead and the Colorado River are drying up. Restrictions are tightening, and for many would-be visitors, or new residents, the idea of traveling to a place struggling just to stay hydrated doesn't feel so relaxing. So now Arizona, once painted as the ultimate year-round destination, is facing a reality check. What happens to a place built on tourism and expansion when both start to fade? The answer is playing out right now, in empty hotel rooms, half-finished condos, and desert towns holding their breath. Arizona still has beauty, still has sunshine, but in 2025, the mirage of endless growth is starting to vanish. The question is, can it pivot in time? Or will Arizona become a cautionary tale of what happens when boomtown ambition meets environmental and economic limits? Number 4. Louisiana. The music still echoes through the streets. The food still draws crowds. But behind the jazz and jambalaya, something is breaking. Louisiana, home to one of America's most iconic cultural destinations, is in trouble. And here's what makes this even more serious. Tourism in Louisiana isn't just about entertainment. It's survival. This industry supports over 200,000 jobs across the state. And when those jobs disappear, the damage ripples far beyond Bourbon Street. But the slowdown isn't just a fluke. Rising crime rates in key tourist areas have sparked safety concerns. Combine that with inflation, extreme summer heat, and the increasing frequency of hurricanes, and you have a perfect storm. Many travelers are now choosing to spend their money elsewhere. Some say the experience feels less welcoming. Others simply cannot justify the cost. Number 3. Missouri. From riverboats on the Mississippi to the aroma of slow-smoked barbecue in the air, Missouri built its identity on experience, on culture, music, heritage, and fun. It was the state that invited people in with a smile and sent them home with memories. But in 2025, the cracks are forming in the very foundations that once made Missouri a Midwestern magnet. The state's tourism engine, especially in its three cultural pillars, St. Louis, Kansas City, and Branson, is beginning to stall. In Branson, the family-friendly capital of country shows, old-fashioned theme parks, and lakeside fun, attendance is down. Rising travel costs have priced out many of the road-tripping families that once made up the bulk of its visitors. Theater owners and boat rental shops say crowds just aren't what they used to be. And in Kansas City, a city that has long thrived on jazz, barbecue, and a unique blend of Midwestern charm and big city amenities, the picture is mixed. The brand new airport terminal, once hailed as a major step toward boosting tourism and business travel, has not yet delivered the surge of travelers it promised. It's modern, it's efficient, but planes are flying in half full, and the return on investment remains sluggish. Local businesses that were banking on a post-COVID travel resurgence are instead seeing lukewarm foot traffic. Hotel bookings are steady, but not surging. Entertainment districts, like the Power and Light District, are struggling to pull in consistent evening crowds. But the most troubling signs are coming from St. Louis. This once proud city on the Mississippi was a cornerstone of America's westward expansion, and for decades, a reliable destination for conventions, sports fans, and international travelers. But in 2025, St. Louis is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. A spike in crime reports, especially in the downtown core, has scared off visitors. Whether real or perceived, the narrative of danger is damaging. Convention planners are opting for safer alternatives. Corporate events are moving to nearby cities. Even tourists who once stopped by for a glimpse of the Gateway Arch are rethinking their plans. Number 2. Illinois. Skyscrapers still scrape the sky. The river still snakes through downtown. But behind the glossy skyline of Chicago and beyond, there's a troubling silence growing across Illinois. But zoom out, and the problem runs deeper than one city. In Springfield, Peoria, and Rockford, tourism never fully bounced back post-pandemic. Statewide attractions, historic sites, music festivals, river cruises are struggling to regain momentum. Even the Route 66 corridor, once a nostalgic cash machine, now feels deserted in stretches. Some roadside businesses are shuttered. Others are barely hanging on. Number 1. Texas. Big state, bigger problems. Texas, the Lone Star State, has always been known for going big, big skies, big festivals, big flavor. But in 2025, it's starting to feel like Texas is shrinking where it matters most, tourism. From Austin's music festivals to San Antonio's Riverwalk and Fort Worth's rodeos, the state built an empire on experience. But now, some of its biggest draws are losing steam. In Houston, once a powerhouse of international business travel, hotel lobbies are quiet. Flight traffic is down, major conventions have pulled out, and international travelers are asking tough questions. After repeated power grid failures and devastating hurricanes, the city's once strong reputation is slipping. Meanwhile, Austin, known for its live music and creative energy, is facing overcrowding and skyrocketing costs. Tourists who once loved the vibe now say it feels commercialized, overbooked, and overpriced. Even smaller towns are feeling the pinch. In places like Fredericksburg, famous for its wineries and B&Bs, and Waco, a hotspot for Magnolia Market fans, bookings have slowed. Local business owners report emptier weekends, fewer out-of-state visitors, and less spending overall. Why? A mix of rising travel costs, unpredictable weather, and a growing perception that Texas is becoming less welcoming or less safe. Heat waves, wildfires, and winter freezes make planning a trip riskier. And headlines around politics, protests, and infrastructure problems aren't helping the state's image. For a long time, tourism wasn't just a bonus for Texas, it was a major economic engine. But now that engine is sputtering. And unless Texas finds a way to rebuild trust, improve infrastructure, and refresh its appeal, the world's biggest state might find itself with smaller crowds and bigger problems. If this shocked you, imagine what's coming next. These states aren't just struggling. Some are on the edge of collapse. Help us keep uncovering the truth. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and share it with someone who needs to see what's really happening across America in 2025.